it's so hot today. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Lily and today I'm going to be carrying on my performer series with my story of where I went to audition for dance college, where I got in and where I didn't. I will also share with you at the end where I ended up going. Before we start, if you do like this video, please give it a little thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. So right now I'm a performer in the industry and I have been working in the industry for 9 years now. So as you can probably imagine, it was a very long time ago that I actually auditioned for dance and musical theatre colleges. There are lots of videos out there about auditioning that are far more up to date. However, this particular series that I'm doing at the moment is just like my journey, so catching everyone up on how I got to the point where I am now in my career and all my experiences so far. Okay, so let's get into it. So previous to auditioning, I had just been dancing at a local dance school since I was maybe 3 or 4. I'd taken it quite seriously, I'd done competitions and things, but I hadn't done any extra bits like associate programs or anything like that. So that was a training that I'd had up to that point and up to the point of auditioning at colleges. So I did do a little bit of research. I definitely should have done more, but the list of colleges that I compiled for myself that I wanted to audition at was the Winstons, London Studio Centre, Bird College, Italia Conti, Erdang, Arts Ed, performers, so that was all of them. So it was 7 colleges all in all. That was maybe a few too many as the auditions are quite expensive, one to get to, and also you do have to pay to audition. However, I really wanted to go away. It wasn't really an option for me to take a year out. I wanted to go that year and I wanted to make sure I got in somewhere. So I have done a full video on a couple of things that you should consider if you're looking at dance colleges and how to kind of form your list of where you want to audition. I personally hadn't really done a lot of research, but my list that I've just explained was made up of some places that I knew that I thought I wanted to go, places that I'd kind of asked about, or a few that I had researched. So my list was also based on the fact that I really wanted to do a degree course. I was 18 when going, so it was an option for me, and I had always been quite academic at school, so I was really dead set on wanting to do a degree. It also worked really well because it was easier to fund a degree for me personally. I could literally just get a student loan for the course fees and for the living fees. So the other option that I might have had was to do a diploma course, which you can get a scholarship for the fees, but you can't get like a student loan or anything like that. And then also your living fees you have to cover, or your parents have to cover, and that just wasn't really within our reach. However, some of the colleges that I did audition for did only do a diploma course, but I just wanted to go just because if I did only get a diploma place, then I could have worked out from there, or maybe try to look at sponsorship or something to try and fund myself. But my top choices were the places that did degree courses. So because it was quite a long time ago now, I don't have too many detailed memories of the auditions that I did, but I think the first one that I did was my audition at Performers. So I don't know if this has changed, but at the time they didn't do a degree course, they just did the diploma. I did get into Performers. I received a letter saying that I had got in, but then there was an application process to see if you get awarded a scholarship as well. So that was quite a positive start to my audition experience, but it wasn't a dead set, yes, I really want to go there, because they didn't have a degree course. So the next place that I auditioned was Bird College. They did a diploma course and a degree course, and they did have quite a lot of funding for the diploma course. Now I do remember that when we sang and we did a bit of an interview, we did have to fill out a form, and there were tick boxes as to whether you would accept a diploma course or if it was just degree that you wanted. So I stayed pretty strong and I said it was definitely a degree that I want, and I think the reason they were asking that was because they have more places and more scholarships on the diploma than they have places on the degree course. A week or so after this audition, I got a letter in the post saying that I didn't actually get a full degree place, but I was on the reserve list for the degree course. Do you remember being quite disappointed by that? But it wasn't a definite no, so we're still on the positive train. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to go ahead and say that I think my next one was London Studio Centre. They did a degree course and did the audition. I remember enjoying it, and I got a place on the degree course. So I was pretty happy. It was quite early in the year, so I was pretty set that that was where I was going to go. I was going to do the degree course. I could get a student loan, so that was great. If I get in anywhere else, then I've got options, but I was pretty safe at that point because I kind of got what I wanted. So my memory gets a bit blurred here. I'm not really sure in what order I did the rest of my auditions, but I remember auditioning at Italia Conti. I think I got in there, but to be honest, I don't really know. Again, they only did a diploma at the time, so it was a bit neither here nor there because I knew I wouldn't have taken the place anyway, which is probably why I don't remember. Now my Erdang audition is a little bit clearer in my memory because they did a degree course, so I was thinking, oh, if I was to get in here on the degree course, I would then have an option of degree courses. However, I did not get into Erdang, which I remember being really upset about. It was probably my first taste of rejection within the industry. Little did I know that the industry is full of rejection. That was fun. I didn't get into Erdang, and it's a really good school, so that was a shame, but it feels nice to say it on camera. So I should probably explain now that I was quite set on going to London. I'm from up north and I wanted to be pretty much as far away as possible as I could, still within the UK. I kind of wanted to not run away from home, but I was a bit like, no, I want to do my own thing. I'm not interested in staying near to home. So I was dead set on London, and also everyone had kind of said that's the place to be, that's where the auditions are, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to taste that London life, or at least just be in a completely different area. I essentially, at this point in the year, I think my Phil Winston's audition was scheduled a little bit later in the year, and I'd already gotten into London Studio Centre on the degree course. So I don't know if Phil Winston's is still the same, but at the time of auditioning, they only offered like a part-time course. It was like 2-3 days in the week, and I definitely wanted a full-time course, and they're based in Blackpool, and I wanted to be in London. So essentially I called them and I let them know that I wasn't going to go to the audition because it just wasn't worth me travelling there, because had I have got a place or not, it just would have been a waste of their time and a waste of our time and a waste of the money travelling. So I actually didn't go to my Phil Winston audition. I don't like to say that it was like a backup option, because I know a lot of people that did go there that are amazing performers, but for me it kind of was that, but it was more to do with the fact that it was a part-time course and I wanted a full-time course. So that was that. Now, I don't know if you were listening in the beginning when I initially said about the full list. However, the last place that I auditioned was Arts Ed. You did hear me right, I actually auditioned at Arts Ed. I remember not really knowing anything about Arts Ed. I'd found their website online, and I remember looking and thinking, wow, this is a really great school. I can't believe I didn't know who these people were or what this school was. So I was like, yeah, I'll definitely send off to these guys and go for an audition. Amazing. These guys sound great. But because I hadn't heard of them, I don't think I'd quite realised how prestigious they were. So I remember going to the audition and thinking, oh, this is great. I did the dance call, and it was actually less technical and a little bit easier than some of the other dance calls that I'd been to. And then I remember being outside the singing room and hearing people inside the singing room, and I was just hearing voice after voice after voice that was just absolutely outstanding. Singing that I'd probably never even heard before, coming from the mouths of people that were my age. And I very quickly realised, oh, okay, right, I'm starting to realise what kind of place this is. This is a very, very good, very much more singy musical theatre school than I'm really capable of going to. So I didn't get into Arts Ed, but I did audition there. So that's the little story of me auditioning at Arts Ed, and it's kind of funny now because I know what kind of school they are. I know that they turn out so many people straight into the West End with amazing voices, and they're so talented. And me coming from a place of dance as opposed to singing at all, I find it quite funny that I auditioned there, but I did, and that was part of my journey, and you've got to give these places a go. So that was all the auditions. I essentially had a couple of diploma places and then the degree course at London Studio Centre. So I actually didn't end up applying for any of the scholarships on the diploma because I just was like, I'm happy to go with the degree. I was dead set for going to London Studio Centre. They'd invited me to like a taster day, which I went to, and I did kind of enjoy it. Although I do remember it being not quite what I thought it was going to be. So anyway, here's where the big plot twist comes in. Maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before I was due to move down there, we'd sorted out accommodation almost. We'd sorted out accommodation. I think we were about to pay for the accommodation. Anyway, I got a letter through the post. Or actually, it might have been a phone call basically saying like, hey, like we'd like to offer you a place at Bird College on the degree course. And if you remember, I'd been put on the reserve list. So obviously someone had turned the place down and I'd been bumped up and got a full degree place. And so all of a sudden I had this choice between London Studio Centre and Bird. And I remember calling my mum and dad and saying, we need a family meeting. So we literally all went home and it was like, okay, we need to make this decision because we only had like 2 or 3 weeks and I was going to be moving to a completely different part of the country. It was quite a big thing. So we had this meeting and we put this list of pros and cons of, you know, all these things. I do remember my dad was a little worried because London Studio Centre is right in the middle of London. And I remember him being a little bit like, really, you're going to move right in the middle of London and going to be travelling into London every day? And being a northerner his whole life, he thought that was quite scary. So he was getting a little bit worried about me, a little northern girl, being in the middle of London. And of course, Bird College is out of the way. It's in Sidcup. We talked about everything basically. And I remember I had a conversation with my dance teacher, basically say, look, if you had the choice, where would you choose? So she said, I would choose Bird. That was it. All of a sudden, I swapped from going to London Studio Centre to going to Bird. So then we were fretting around trying to find like accommodation and this, that and the other. And the other thing was that London Studio Centre started a week later. So Bird was a week earlier. So I think I only had maybe 1 or 2 weeks to get everything prepared. The accommodation I was going to have at London Studio Centre was kind of catered. So I didn't need like pans, bowls, plates, all of that kitchen stuff. And then all of a sudden at Bird, I was going to have to go out and buy all this stuff. So it was a little bit frantic, but yeah, in the end, I ended up going to Bird College. college. Yeah, that was my decision. So it was a little bit of a crazy audition process, and it was a bit of a crazy year really. If you have any experiences or anything similar that you'd like to share with me, please drop me a comment. If you have any additional questions, please let me know. I will do my utmost and best answer. If there's anything else that you'd like a video on, also let me know. If you have liked this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. And I will be doing a video on my full bird college experience for you guys. Again, it was many years ago, but I will be giving you my opinion on my training and how I found it as now an industry professional 9 years later. So stay tuned for that one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.